Hi everyone, hope you are feeling positive and healthy. Please subscribe with bell notifications if you haven't already, and please don't hesitate to leave your feedback and advice below. Thank you very much. Let's jump into the stories. Am I the unreasonable one for giving up on having a relationship with my sister? TLDR, my sister's husband has power from God to tell her who she can and can't have in her life. I've been told to never call her phone, only call him and ask for her. I think he's a jerk and I think she's too easily influenced. Do I still have to try to have a relationship with her or can I be done now? My sister, 25, and I, 23, were best friends our whole lives and did everything together. A year after she started dating her now husband, 33, she moved out to be closer to him. Her husband is one of those guys who debates everyone about everything. The way it comes off to me is that he's never looking for a common ground or solution to an idea or a problem. He just wants to make you feel stupid. We very rarely had conversations where I walked away seeing him in a positive light. While they were dating, she would consistently come to me crying because he spoke rudely to her, offended her, spoke down to her. After every fight she seemed resolved to break up, but they never did. Despite having only dated for one semi-tumultuous year, they decided to get married. My mother objected to this decision and asked if they would at least wait a year because we needed more time to get to know him and hopefully like him. Very little effort was made to get us all together and bond. Also, my mom preferred that my sister graduated college first before tying the knot. They refused to wait and my mother was uninvited to the wedding. It's been a year since they've been married and my sister has tried to reach out and reconnect. We all spent 3 days trying to talk it out and heal things. Every time we speak to her, things go well. After we hang up with her, she calls back saying her husband doesn't like what happened, he's furious and we need to talk again. So we go over everything again and it's like he refuses to let us back into her life. They subscribe to a form of Christianity that we weren't raised with. They believe that the husband gets to decide everything in their lives, including whether or not she's allowed to come visit us. After I patched things up with her again, he called me back and said I was no longer allowed to call her phone. If I wanted to speak to her, I had to call his phone and ask for her. I ask him what he wants and he says things like I want you to respect our union. I don't know what that means. Then he said you can't have a good relationship with her unless you have a good relationship with me. We are one, so I'm supposed to pretend to like him I guess? It's like a hostage situation. I can tell my dad wants me to open myself up to all this drama again just because she's my sister, but I feel like it doesn't matter what I do. Her husband will always say I can't have a relationship with her and honestly, I like her less because she's allowed this to happen and won't stand up for us. Am I the unreasonable one? Also, I forgot to clarify that in our last 2 conversations I told her that I care about her and that she can contact me whenever she needs to get away from him. Your sister is in an abusive marriage. The only thing you should be thinking about is how to get her out of it. Also, not the unreasonable one because you do have to look out for your own mental health. However, I think you should absolutely keep lines of communication open. She is clearly in an abusive situation and that call may come someday for help. That is absolutely an abusive relationship. If she won't allow help there isn't any you can do, but please keep yourself open to her if she reaches out. Am I the unreasonable one for getting mad at my wife for leaving our 1-year-old son home alone while he was napping? Context: our son is barely 1 birthday last week. I came home from work and my wife was just getting back from a run, at which point I noticed our son was in the back room sleeping. When I asked her about it, she got defensive and said it was only a mile, and I never got far away from the house. I don't think this is safe, so I got mad at her, and the whole thing escalated into a fight where I told her what she did wasn't safe. Now she's mad at me, thinks I'm being a judgmental ass, and doesn't want to talk. She thinks it's no different than being outside in the backyard while he is napping. So what's the deal? Am I the unreasonable one? Also, so I'm getting a lot of questions and concerns, so I will try and address some of them here. Some things I have already addressed in comments. We do have a running stroller, and a treadmill. She used to be big into running, and has lost about 100 pounds, so she is starting/wanting to go again. I am incredibly supportive of her working out, but never thought it would come to this. She also has a gym membership to go swimming or whatever. For clarification too, she said she did a mile run, and it took her 10 minutes. And after I was visibly angered she told me she ran a circle around our house. So take that as you will. I watch our son almost every evening, and she is free to get out of the house and do whatever. I am constantly pushing her to hang out with friends, and go have coffee breaks all while I am watching our son. So while it may not be enough, and I obviously need to sit and take a long look at her mental health with her, I do give her countless opportunities for her to get away, but But that is her choice. Sometimes she wants to stay home and be around us. It's not just I got the kid, you do chores. All in all, she has been an amazing mother. We are both first-timers in this, but I never thought something like this would happen. And I certainly didn't think I would be made out to be the bad guy. So thank you all for the questions and input. My wife and I will definitely be having a follow-up about this incident, as well as future conversations about what she needs to deal with her stress, and what could have led to something like this happening. Update. Thank you all for amazing discussion and perspectives. We had a discussion last night, and she is seeing it from my perspective now. She broke down and cried for quite a while, and apologized for trying to blame me. It seems this was a one-off thing. She explained to me that she was excited to try some new running shoes, and didn't think about how dangerous it all was since he was napping. That being said, I'm going to be continuing to provide her with opportunities galore for space and time outside of the home to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. Mental health is no joke. Also, thanks for the gold kind stranger. Totally made my day smile. I'm sorry, your wife did what now? There is indeed a difference between hanging in the backyard and going out for a run. That difference has roughly a mile radius, not the unreasonable one. Also, people have pointed out that the radius would be roughly half a mile. Damn my history degree. Not the unreasonable one. I wouldn't be comfortable with that either. A lot can happen really quickly with a baby that age. However, it sounds like your wife really wants to get out of the house and get some time for herself. Is there a way you two can work together to facilitate that safely? Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to set up a joint bank account with my fiancé? So my fiancé and I were just casually talking the other day about what life would be like when we're married. She stated, "Things be so much easier when we have a joint account. I'll feel so much more rich then." I had never mentioned us getting a joint account, and I guess I had forgot that is what many couples do. I said, "Are we not just keeping the accounts separate?" She said that was silly and that I should know that we will be joining them since we will be getting married. I told her that I never agreed to that, and while I would be happy for her to use my money at times, I don't want her to feel like it is all hers. I've earned that money and I don't feel like she has the right to it unless I say so. I worked hard to be in the position I am. I make over $100,000 a year, not to belittle her or say that it's a bad thing, but she makes around $25,000 a year at her job. She then called me selfish and couldn't believe that I was being serious. She left last night and I haven't heard much from her since then. Her friend texted me and said I was a jerk. I told my parents about the situation and they sided with me. They have separate accounts like I planned on doing. Like I said, I'm glad to help her out always and lend her money if she needs it. But I don't want her to feel like she can use more and use it whenever she needs it. Am I the a-hole for doing this? Nah. You guys have very different ideas about finances that need to be resolved before you get married. You need to sit down and discuss this thoroughly before continuing this engagement. Nah. Consider a joint savings account where you both contribute toward mutual goals like vacation/home and vehicle upgrades/etc. Am I the unreasonable one for making a rule about social media for my adult son and his girlfriend? I have a 20-year-old son who I'll admit I have a strained relationship with, which makes it hard sometimes to enforce normal boundaries. He was staying with his mother and stepfather since his school shut down in March, but my ex threw them out and they needed a place to stay. He says it is because he hates her husband, but my ex said it's because his girlfriend is disrespectful, so it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'm currently dating someone who is semi-famous. She did some child modeling, was on Broadway for a little while, and is now having success in the music industry. She also has a massive social media following. My son seems to like her, though he is always bitching that she's too young for me. But I think he just doesn't like seeing me happy. I'm going to call my girlfriend Chloe and my son's girlfriend Riley. Riley is driving Chloe insane. Every time Chloe tries to take pictures or do a live stream, Riley tries to get involved. Chloe actually blocked Riley on all social media so she couldn't tag her, and Riley confronted her, crying and saying Chloe is a narcissist who can't share the attention. Riley wants to be famous, but she goes back and forth between what she wants to be famous for, which makes me think she's just fame hungry as opposed to Chloe, who is a serious musician. Well, Chloe and Riley ended up in a huge fight the other day because Riley was trying to convince Chloe that they should do a duet. Chloe doesn't even make those decisions. She has a manager, but Riley isn't very smart, and Chloe pretty much told Riley to let it go and she isn't special. Well, an hour later I was taking a picture of Chloe by the pool and Riley tried to get in the frame. Chloe just got pissed and stormed off, so I told Riley and my son that they are not allowed to take any pictures with or near Chloe and to stop trying to mooch off of her success. My son said I'm an a-hole and begged my ex to let him move back in. But she just laughed. Not the unreasonable one. You were just trying to give your girlfriend some personal space, and I think that's kind of you. Your son's girlfriend looks like she just wants attention and she is using your girlfriend to achieve that. Not the unreasonable one. Chloe has a career that Riley keeps trying to get in the way of. If Riley wants to be famous, she needs to do the work for it and not try to mooch off of Chloe's. Am I the unreasonable one for wanting my stay-at-home wife to be thankful? My wife stays at home with our almost 2-year-old son. She dreamt of being a stay-at-home mom her whole life, and we had discussed and agreed on that before we were married. It took several years to get to a place where we hoped we would be able to afford it. Every decision I've made since we got married has been focused on helping make this dream a reality for her. But lately I have been starting to feel burned out. I had to pick up a second job and am working over 80 hours a week for the past year and a half. Most weekdays I get to see our son for around an hour between the two jobs, with our dinner being around half of that. I get 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night during the week. I only work 8 hours on Sat/Sun, so those aren't as bad. I do not resent her for getting to stay home with him. I think that it is great for both of them. We made the decision together, and I have worked extremely hard to be able to give her that. I'm proud of everything I did to be able to do this for her. But my issue is, there is zero appreciation for all that I have done. And it doesn't seem to be enough. She is constantly upset with me, complaining how we can't afford to go on a trip she wants, or buy some expensive thing. Almost every day she is the victim, and I can't ever communicate or vent about what I'm going through. She can't understand why I'm getting tired or burned out, and keeps mentioning how much harder it is for her. I understand being a stay-at-home mom is not a vacation, but I am currently super pumped if I get a half hour to myself a couple times a week, while she is watching Netflix 5 to 6 hours a day. Without son, he sleeps 12 hours straight every night, and takes 2 naps. She'll finish a season of a show every couple days. Even so, I'm not upset that she gets that kind of free time. I am upset that she isn't even slightly thankful or appreciative of what I do for her, and even worse, makes herself the victim and complains about her situation. It breaks my heart, and it makes me feel like all this stuff I spent forever on was for nothing. That it was wasted. In my mind at the time, it was worth doing all this was because I was doing it for her, giving her this amazing gift. I was literally making her dreams come true, but it seems like it still isn't enough, and I'm not sure what more I could do and still stay sane. I'm barely hanging on as it is. Am I too in my head about this and I'm the a-hole making myself a victim? Not the unreasonable one. But if you have to have 2 full-time jobs for he to not work, you cannot afford your current lifestyle. Either she needs to work or your lifestyle needs to change. Also, thank you for the comments and awards. You all rock. Absolutely not the unreasonable one. What kind of person dares to complain about finance to someone working their ass off, but not do anything to earn some themselves? Stay at home is fine, but this is very unbalanced. You can't keep this up. 80 hours is way too much. Am I the unreasonable one for not paying my daughter her allowance because of her entitlement? I have a daughter who turned 12 in December. We are Jewish, so this was supposed to be celebrated with a bat mitzvah, which she refused. She said she was uncomfortable with the attention and she is questioning her faith. I'll admit my wife's initial reaction was not good, but after she calmed down we all talked about it rationally and agreed she did not have to have one. I'd been saving money for both of my children's bar and bat mitzvahs since they were very young. She did not know the exact amount, but she knew that her older brother's was very lavish. Well, my wife has always wanted to go to Paris, so we decided to put the money towards that. Due to the pandemic, I'm not sure when it will be, but I thought my daughter realized that we were spending the money on France. Today she asked me about the money and was talking about the things she could do with it, and she didn't know if she would spend it on a car or a trip. I was very irritated that she thought it was her money. It was saved for one explicit purpose, and since she did not want the party, it is 100% my money. We got into a fight over whose money it is, and I'm still furious that she thought she had any right to it. I told her I'm not paying her allowance for a couple of weeks because she needs to think about what money actually means and why she thinks she is entitled to my money. Note, my kids do not get paid for chores, so she does have some chores, but it's not like she is doing anything to earn this money. My wife thinks she should be grounded for being disrespectful, but that the allowance thing is an a-hole move. Not the unreasonable one. Why on earth would she think the money for her bat mitzvah was hers to keep because she didn't want one? That's like asking your parents to pay for a wedding and then saying, never mind, I don't want to get married, give me 10K plus. I don't think you should punish her just for questioning her faith, but I don't think that's what's going on here. She shouldn't feel so entitled to that money as she didn't work for it and it had a purpose. So, I get that you are the adult and parent. I get that you can decide how the money should be spent. However, If she didn't want a big lavish party, I'm kind of surprised you didn't offer an alternative to celebrate her coming of age. Like if she didn't want to celebrate it the way you had predetermined, then she doesn't get anything at all. That's what makes you a bit of the odd to me. There was potential for a compromise of sorts and you missed it. Am I the unreasonable one for refusing to move to a different alternative apartment after just moving in even though management keeps asking me to because there are complaints? Kind of a long one. Just moved into an apartment, it's barely been 2 months. Way it's set up is the downstairs part is rented to an old lady. The upstairs part is a 3-bedroom space that's perfect for my family. Recently just moved in after moving to a whole different state. The old lady has had a problem with us since before we hadn't even moved in. When we just came to the house to see it with a friend, she approached the friend and was extremely haughty and wanted to know exactly who we were and weird things like that, like we were suspicious. Now that we have moved in, she is constantly complaining to management and has made the prime complaint my kids, 5 and 3. The older child is autistic, and while he understands most things, he's nonverbal and a little hard to control, and I'm trying my best. The old lady keeps calling management on us because he's running and jumping upstairs and she can't ever rest and it's so loud and hard for her. She wants me to control my kids and I am trying my best. But I can't put them on a leash or shut them inside a room. She keeps treating us like we're hostile and suspicious, while zoning on my kids doing completely normal kid things, and I've tried to take them out, or have them play at their aunt's house sometimes, but nothing is enough for her. Management was also kind of iffed out at her constant complaints, but to appease her, they offered to give us a downstairs area in a different house. That would not work out for us, since we need 3 bedrooms and downstairs units only have 2. They then offered a townhouse all to us, but the rent is way higher and we can't afford that at the moment. I feel like an a-hole for constantly refusing to move out because she is an old lady, no matter how she treats us, and if she is really that disturbed I want to do something to help. But I can't move out and she's complaining about how we won't leave. Am I the unreasonable one? Not the unreasonable one. You signed a lease for that space, it's yours, but there's a message in their continued desire to help relocate you. You'd be taking a risk by not working with them. BC, they probably will not renew if you do not, so all you're doing now is delaying the inevitable until the lease ends. Everyone sucks here. Why isn't management offering her a different place to live? Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.